What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This week here we're going to be back on the Nova. We're going to finish prepping this firewall and front subframe. We're going to epoxy it, seam seal it, and get it painted so we can start putting it back together. And all the little parts that go in the front, we're going to get those painted as well. So let's get going. Got her sprayed in epoxy. Looks awesome. I sprayed this and I went and took lunch real quick. It was about an hour. This epoxy that I'm shooting is this Summit direct to metal epoxy. This is part number 234G. It's a 1-to-1 mix. I really like it. I've probably went through about 10 gallons of it by now, so I've used it quite a bit. One coat, you could paint over in 30 minutes. 2 coats, yeah, about an hour. and it's got an open time of about 4 days. I've never went that long, left it open and sprayed on it, but I have left it overnight. I actually thought about leaving this overnight, but I'm gonna have time today to go ahead and finish it. But it covers good. It lays out flat, slick. I've tried a bunch of epoxies. I really do like it, and it does. I hear a lot of people about sanding and gumming up your paper. I usually don't sand this stuff because I make sure I top coat it within the window. Like on this here, this isn't going to get high build primer. This is just going to get paint. But this epoxy, basically, by putting on all the bare metal and all that stuff that we sanded down, grind down, that's going to seal the metal. That epoxy is going to seal that metal. So then the next coat I put on, which is going to be our top coat, it's going to be for looks, you know, it's going to look slicker, more uniform and all that kind of stuff, because this epoxy, when it dries on metal versus on, you know, body filler or whatever, it kind of looks different. So all this epoxy is for is to seal that metal to make a good base for our top coat. And also this here, you know, you could probably leave this on some stuff, but I don't think it's got the UV protection. Like if it's out in the sun a bunch, it's going to get... it's going to dry out and look chalky where you want to top coat it. But yeah, that Summit brand stuff works awesome. I really like it. I'm going to keep using it. They make white and black and probably gray. I usually just use the black because it's different from the other colors. Or if I use it underneath my 2K and then I sand, I kind of can tell the difference in what is what. So I also went ahead and epoxied the core support and the cowl vent for now, where the cowl vent's going to get high build primer, since it's going to get, you know, painted like top coat like the car. And then I'm going to go ahead and seam seal this area, all the seams that need done. And then I've got the core support hung up. It's going to get painted at the same time, to where then tomorrow we could put the core support back on it, hang our fenders and start gapping our fenders to our door, you know, final fit. Here's that plate I was telling you guys about in the last video. This car's getting vintage AC, so that hole over there on the end, that's where all of our lines are going to come through. So I've got a special plate, not the one I showed you. That was an afterthought or something. He had it before maybe, but now that we're going vintage AC, there's a special plate that goes there that'll get put on later. This one here covers the old heater box stuff, or not the heater box, the having a blank. Anyways, it's going to cover this area. I will show you guys what I'm going to do there. I'm going to put some steam sealer around the areas that are exposed to the inside. To where when this goes on, it bolts on. Then I'm going to run a real thin layer of steam sealer all the way around it. And this is going to get painted while on the firewall to where it's seamless color-wise. And I don't have to worry about getting paint underneath this plate, because that's what that epoxy's for. Literally, you could leave this like it is and it'd be fine. It's sealed up, weather won't touch it, everything's good. The only reason we're painting is because the top coat's going to look better in the end than leaving it epoxy. So now I can go ahead and seam seal under this panel, get this panel bolted on. Then we're going to run a real thin bead of seam sealer here, and I'll smooth it out to where you don't see it. And then we can go on from there to putting our top coat on this, letting it dry overnight. We'll come back in tomorrow and check it out. So let's get on to get this plate on. Okay, so I got this plate bolted in, nutted and bolted from the back. Got my seam sealer. You see me seam seal inside here to seal it. I'm also going to go inside the inside there and put a bead of caulking sealer around inside, just make sure. And then I went ahead and put a clean line around here. Quick tip on this seam sealer. Once you get it on there, obviously get it pretty clean, you know, with your fingers, like get a lot of the excess off. But if you take a rag and you get some wax and grease remover on it, you can take that rag and wipe off any excess. It'll come right off, to where all you leave is that seam sealer right down in that little channel that you want. So that's really clean. The wax and grease remover will smooth it out really slick, to where it makes it, you know, once this is done, I don't want you to see like really messy seam sealer. That's why I took the time and dug all the factory stuff out, because they almost just, you know, throw it on there, just brush it out, which, I mean, it is what it is. It's a 74. So, but anyways, this is gonna be a lot cleaner look. Like I said, seam seal it, and I'll smush it down in there with my finger, and then come back with a rag with some wax and grease remover on it to smooth it out. What we're gonna be painting this stuff with is SEM Trim Black. This stuff is awesome. You can get it in spray cans, which is really awesome for your do-it-yourself guys that don't use a paint gun or whatever. The aerosol cans are excellent of this. Obviously, I'm going to be using quite a bit of it today, so I'm not going to use an aerosol can. This stuff mixes 1-to-1 with a good reducer, and that's it. This stuff sprays nice, flat, easy. Highly recommend this stuff. I've been using this stuff for years, since I've gotten in the industry a long time ago. Yeah, I'm gonna mix some of this stuff up. This seam sealer's been drying for about an hour and a half now. It only needs 30 minutes before you can top coat it, but it's been sitting about an hour and a half just because I had people stopping by and stuff like that. So, but either way, I'm gonna mix this stuff up, and we'll get to spraying it. Coat. I'm gonna let that tack up so we can build our next coat on top of that. All right, guys, that was one medium coat, kind of like a tack coat. I'm gonna open up my flow a little bit more, my paint flow on this coat, put a little bit more down. The idea is, though, by the time I might put a third coat, just because I have the material, and I think 3 coats will be make it look pretty sweet. But by the time I hit the third coat, I'm gonna be pretty close up there, really put the paint on, because I want it to, like I was saying about the primer a couple videos ago, I want it to slick out. This stuff looks really awesome when it dries, and it's got a good sheen to it. I just want to spray it out flat. So let's get going on coat number 2, and then I'll assess and see if I want to go with another coat or not. Down. So that's 3 coats. I just wanted to kind of pour it on that last coat. I already had 2 tack coats down, ground coats. So there I got a little bit closer, fan open, wide open, and my paint open, wide open. So now that'll let everything kind of atomize together and slick out real good. What's up, guys? It is the next morning here. This stuff turned out awesome. It might be hard to come through on the camera, but it is perfectly, it's got the perfect sheen, not too shiny, not too flat. It looks awesome, exactly what we wanted. So I'm gonna probably wrap up this video here because now I'm gonna go on to putting the front end back together, which would be good for the next video. Because there might be some of you guys wanting to do this on yours, and I don't want to get too much going on in one video. This is kind of basically just the finishing of the the refinishing of the front end. So I'm going to post links in the description of all the materials I used to accomplish this here, just so there's no question about what I used and how to get this look. And I will bring you guys in for a closer look. But this stuff says let it cure out to hard full cureness at 48 hours. So it's been maybe, I don't know, 12 hours now. It's dry to the touch and all that. And you can work around it, just being careful. But for the most part, I'm going to do it. I need to get the course board in it, fenders hung on it, so I can start messing with that. But then I'm going to stay out of this area for the next at least day to let that fully cure. I don't want to be up there scratching all that stuff after all the hard work you guys see me put into this and get it to this point. But yeah, this is a huge step in the right direction on this car. Now, pretty much everything can get the rest of the way detailed out, all the little parts that's got to go in. He's still working on the engine, which I think it'll be done real soon. So by that time, I'll be ready to get it in, get everything kind of back together, and then we can focus on actually I got to do the interior first, not the material stuff in the interior, but basically finish prepping the floor, and we're gonna wire wheel the floor and bed liner it, and then start getting the AC stuff inside of it, and then finally onto painting the outside of it, which I cannot wait for. So I'm gonna bring you guys in for a closer look on this here, so you guys can hopefully I can capture in the video what it really looks like in person. But get you guys closer, let you check it out, and then we're gonna close this video out. And in the next video, like I said, I'll probably be back on fitting the fenders, final fit the fenders, and maybe even final fit the hood, and putting some of the front end together. So we'll just see. The next video might be just like a cluster of just a bunch of stuff going on, because I've kind of got to be all over the place on this thing at this point. Little jobs here and there to get fully finished out. So I'll bring you guys up closer, and then we're going to close this video out. All right, guys. Oh yeah, you can see it pretty good in the camera. This stuff is so awesome. Sim, I don't think I've ever used a product that I don't like from Sim or SEM, however you want to say it, but this stuff it looks awesome. Like I said, it's easy to spray too. I would recommend it to anybody, even if you don't have a ton of painting experience. You mix that stuff 1-to-1, keep moving with it, and it lays out. And as you can see, all this down in here was scuffed and shot, because once that cowl vent panel goes on, it will be obviously the color of the car, and you'll be able to see right through it, and all this underneath here is going to be nice and black and clean like that. So it's going to be a really clean look. But yeah, even the frame, I mean, this stuff is just, I can't say enough about it. I really like this product. It dries hard, it dries real good, flat. It just looks really awesome. If you're kind of wanting to achieve that factory look, this is a good way to do it. Obviously, depending on what you're building, you might do underneath the hood body color or whatever, but on these GMs, they kind of go black like this. And for what it costs for that paint and everything, it's hard to beat that look right there. So, and the seam sealer, it looks real clean. It might have been kind of tough to see what it's gonna look like because it was white on the epoxy, but it looks super clean all the way around it. Like I said, really pumped. And there is a bolt that goes in there that I don't have yet, but once it goes in, I'll paint it black out of the car, and then I'll put it in, and it'll be fine too. And by the time you get everything in this car, it'll be so low you probably won't see it. But either way, it's no big deal. But yeah, this stuff is like I said, it's awesome. Really cleans up the whole front end. And now that once we get that fresh paint on the outside, like I was saying, you won't be ashamed to pop the hood at a cruise in or a car show and look under the hood too, because it's got the core sport was painted just like this, and then the wheel liners are going to be just like this too. So it's going to be really clean you know, once it's all put back together and done. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. If you guys have been watching this Nova, following along, I really appreciate it. Now's the time to keep watching, because we're finally to the point of where we're kind of almost done making a mess, and we're gonna be able to start putting some stuff together, which to me is when stuff really starts getting excited. As you can see in this video, that a lot happened here, and it looks awesome. I'm really pumped about it. So now we can start putting stuff together, and that's when they really get exciting. And before you know it, we'll be putting paint on the outside of it and being able to kind of see it all come together. So that's always when they're really, really exciting. But thanks for watching, guys. And here, it'll probably be a few days, maybe a week, there'll be another video coming out on this, because the progress is really starting to move along pretty rapidly now. So, yeah, I think that's it on this one. So we'll see you guys on the next one.